Good day, everyone. I'm Frank Mallicoat here in the San Francisco Bay Area. I'm a news anchor and a reporter here for the Fox station. And joining me now is Dorothy Brenninger, better known as Dorothy the Organizer. You may have seen her on A&E, the show Hoarders. She's also got 5 best-selling books out there. And oh, by the way, is a COVID-19 recovery. You survived it, and here you are. Tell us, first and foremost, Dorothy, how are you feeling?
I feel great. Frank, both my husband and I had COVID-19. He tested positive, and because I was just a little too young, this was early on, and they weren't giving tests to everybody. So while I wasn't tested COVID, my doctor said that I am suspected COVID-19, but we had all the same symptoms. And they were pretty tough to go through, but we made it.
Yeah, well, we're so glad you did. When did you find out? Was it January? How long have you been recovering?
Actually, yeah, it was at the beginning of March. My husband went to a big concert in Los Angeles, 20,000 people. And that's where we suspect that it made it to us. And then we started coming down with the symptoms together at the same time. And Frank, in this order, we were sleepy first, then we got a fever, then we had body aches and chills, and then sort of a small cough, then stomach ache, loss of appetite, and then our body was just aching everywhere. So that was what it looked like while it was coming on.
And your case was not quite as severe as your husband's, right?
Right. I only had a fever for 5 days, but when you start sweating it out, that means, at least in our case, and I hear many other cases, that's when you're sort of turning the corner. So at night, pray for those sweats, because that's what we want to have happen.
Since you both had it, I guess you didn't have to quarantine yourself from one another, right?
We did quarantine ourselves from one another because we just didn't know. I wasn't sure that I had it. And I also have an 87-year-old mom that I care for. So we did have to quarantine the house. And, we went through our testing, which, if you want to hear about what the testing was like, it was a great experience. But yes, we also quarantined, and I can share all of that too.
Well, let's start with the testing. I know it doesn't sound like a lot of fun, but how did that go?
Well, if you can go into this testing site with appreciation and gratitude that you have that you get to have a test,
right,
then it changes the frustration level. And also, I suggest packing a book, water, and a charger for your phone, because there is a wait. In New York, they've got long lines of people. We have long lines of cars waiting, to get into the testing sites. So apart from that, we just went through an initial interview to make sure that we were the right people in the right place. And and me being an organizer, I loved the organization of where I went.
Sure.
Every single parking space had a number. Every car had an arrow to know, where you were in the process. I mean, it was just beautifully organized. But they come along, and you want to actually wear a shirt that you don't tuck in. That's easy for them to come in, lean into the car, and get your vitals. So you'll kind of pull up your shirt a little bit and get that taken care of. And apart from that, they did a flu test first. If we had the flu, then they would have sent us on our way. If you do not have the flu and you test negative for the flu, then you proceed on to the COVID testing, and they take a swab and they put it in your nose. That's the cavity area where I think it's the coolest, and they can find out whether or not you have COVID-19.
And your results came back positive, I take, right? Eventually?
Yeah, Marty's came back positive. Again, I did not test for the flu, right. But they also said, Dorothy, we don't have enough tests. You're young enough. We're hoping that you can heal at home on your own. We're just going to test Marty. So, yeah.
I was going to say, when you found out, did your heart just sink, or did you just say, we got this, we can take care of this?
You bet. I just went into that survival mode. We got this. And I don't know if it's from the Hoarder show or from my mother's upbringing, but whenever there's something that seems insurmountable, then I'm just totally ready to take charge and take care of it.
And be organized.
And be organized. Yes.
I mean, I will get to that part because I know you've got guidelines and for people that are going through this, and we could talk about your show as well. But it's kind of fascinating. You're the first person I've spoken to that's kind of moved into it and onto the other lines. How sick did you get?
Marty was really sick to the point where sometimes I was shaking him a little and saying, come on, can you see me? Put your head up. Let me know that you're okay. And he was, because of the fever, he was struggling so much. And for me, it was the pain. I couldn't manage the pain in my body. And I'm pretty active. I'm a former gymnast, so I just couldn't figure out why the pain was so bad. But we were both sick. The only thing we could do was sleep.
Yeah, and how long did it take to recover? Your recovery? Oh my, did I lose you?
Yeah, for took quick. I'm still here.
Okay.
Still here.
All right.
You good?
We may have a little internet issue, but I still got you. So keep going,
okay.
Dorothy. How long did it take you to recover?
So for me, it was about 5 days of having the fever, and then the recovery was about a week to 10 days. Mm-hmm. But each day I could get more energy and I could see I was feeling better, and all of those things those symptoms seemed to leave in the same order. My husband, Marty, he had a fever for 14 days and he was in bed for 14 days. And then the recovery was the same.
And groceries, food, you've got your older mother in the house as well. How did you, being the organizer that you are, separate the duties and all that?
Yeah. Well, even though this is serious stuff, I kind of make light of things sometimes. And some of my clients have OCD, and they joke with me and they say this couldn't be a more perfect time to have obsessive compulsive disorder.
Apparently.
Because, washing the hands and doing things repetitively suddenly are paying off for them. And it was helpful for me to know, what they do. But I was very, very specific, and I kept the rules in place. So we separated bedrooms. We had separate bathrooms. We're lucky to do that. If we didn't, we were going to be doing, I would suggest for people who don't have separate bathrooms, it's the hot soap and water. And I'll come back to the science of soap a little bit later, is I think why we got through this so quickly. But we wiped everything down as instructed. We didn't hug, we didn't touch, no kisses, none of that affection that I love. We washed our clothes, we washed the bed linens, nearly every day.
Every day, wow.
Yeah, it was a lot of work when you're feeling like, oh, I'm pretty tired.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah.
And how about groceries? You had them delivered, they'd be on the doorstep, you'd pick them up. No visitors, your neighbors would wave from afar, your children, if you have them, that kind of thing?
I'm lucky. I don't have any kids at this point, or maybe unlucky, but I didn't have to worry about that. But, in terms of the groceries coming in, yes, we did order initially. Now that we're out of the woods, I can go to a grocery store, even though it's not 100% proof that I can't get it again. I wear a mask and gloves. When I go to the grocery store, I buy the items. I'm in and out as quickly as possible. I try to have only one trip a week, if at all. I get, a list from everybody around me, neighbors, mother, everything. And that's what's in this guide that I put together. We can talk about that too.
Sure.
But we'd wipe everything down in the car. So we have a staging area, Frank. So we shop, then we wipe everything down in the back of the car. That's the bags.
I'm taking notes as we speak, by the way.
Good. And then it's the same before we bring the groceries into the house. Then we wipe them down, still in that staging area in the car.
Wow.
Oranges, apples, box of cereal, whatever might be coming in, it all gets wiped down before it comes in.
Well, you talked about immunity a little bit earlier. What do your doctors tell you about, can you catch it again in the next month or two, or perhaps when another wave of COVID-19 comes through the country in the late fall and next winter?
Yeah, well, I live in Los Angeles, so not only are we talking to doctors on a regular basis, but we also talk to LA County Public Health, because we're one of the cases, well, Marty's one of the cases that's counted here. So they also give us instructions, and we ask the question of all of these folks, and they seem to think it's unlikely that we'll get it again. However, there isn't a test out yet. They say it's maybe in June where they can do a test and then see whether you have the antibodies or not that say, hey, you don't have it, you're not going to get it. And in fact, we're going to do a clinical trial locally to help doctors. You just prick the finger to find out whether or not the antibodies are there, see whether this works or not.
When you got on the other side, were you like, yes? I mean, it must have felt so good to know that you survived it, because a lot of people are not.
Yeah, and as an organizer, I'm thinking, well, how can I help people? What am I going to do? We all want to take our certain set of skills. You have it for interviewing and sports, I believe.
Well, I'm a news guy now, but a sports guy years back. But well, that plays right into our next segment. Here we are with our own show, prevention planning. Because while you were going through this, you took notes. You are an organizer, Dorothy the Organizer. After all, take us through your guidelines so people can have a better understanding and know what to do if this happens to them.
Yeah, I guess two things that I'd mention right away. The first one is I'd have your viewers go and get two free things. The first one is digitallifecloud.com. Go to digitallifecloud.com, and these are my business partners. They actually have a free hospitalization a document, an emergency document you want to take in case you are hospitalized. Mm-hmm. It's just 3 pages, but folks want to fill this out because when you go in with the COVID-19 virus, you don't get to take a whole lot with you. It's not like it used to be, pack a suitcase, bring your iPad, bring everything. It's different. You want to bring 3 pieces of paper. That's what's there. Fill your emergency information in for each member of the household. So digitallifecloud.com for that. And then for me, I just kept a simple medical tracker where I wrote down, and this was super informative for all of the doctors and public health departments that we talked to. So you want to keep track of the date, the time, the fever, what your temperature was, and what you took next to it, or any other comments, loss of appetite, no energy, body aches, whatever it is. So just those 4 columns will keep you looking at everything, and you'll see we're learning about the bell curve for everybody.
Right. You'll see yourself getting better.
Exactly.
Now, did you initially take any aspirin? I know they say Advil is not good. Tylenol is okay. Did you know that?
I didn't know it. I didn't know it initially. We both just started taking, first it was Advil and then it was Aleve, and both are, no, not for this.
Taboo,
and until I had a telemedicine visit with my doctor, that was when I was able to realize, oh, we should be taking Tylenol, and that worked just fine.
As you look ahead, being the planner that you are, I would think that our world's going to change quite a bit. The way we greet people, to the way we communicate with people. It blows my mind that our entire station, except for a news anchor, and we do 12 hours of news a day, we're all at home doing this now. It's pretty amazing going forward, even with your show, Hoarders. I imagine things are going to change a little bit.
Well, I imagine it too. I think about it all the time. One of the things that I'm known for is hugging people. That's my way of building trust with folks, especially when they have a hoarding disorder. Right. And so, and it's not just a little hug, it's minutes. So, I'm thinking about that for myself. That's my trademark. Oh boy, that's got to change. So it's germ-free hugs from me now. But certainly my business has changed as well. I go into people's homes, offices, corporations, and
Mhm.
we take teams in and we organize. Right now, it's all done virtually. So the clients call and say, can we do FaceTime or Skype or whatever? And we help them do the organizing, but we're
Right.
right there with them.
It's
Yeah,
because you don't dare touch people's things now anymore, at least
not
for
right
the time
now.
being, right?
No way. No
No
way.
way. Um, and your husband now he's out of the woods. He's 100% well.
He is. He is. He's
Yeah.
still napping in the afternoons. I don't know if it's because he's telling me he's a
He's
little
developed new
sleepy.
habits.
Uh-huh. But that's all
Yeah.
right. We've got plenty of time. But a couple of other things that were really important were the hot
Sure.
soups
Okay.
and hot liquids. We were told to ingest a lot of that, keeps all of this throat and congestion open. So we did do a lot of that. So I just want to tell you that that was one big thing that we did.
And I know you've got a couple of Facebook Live events coming up, right? This
I
weekend.
do.
You want to promote those for us?
I sure do. The Facebook Live event is Friday. I think that's tomorrow, April 3rd.
Hmm.
That's 1 o'clock Pacific time. But I have them every single week on a different organizing topic. So
Okay.
I invite people to come to Facebook and then search for Dorothy the Organizer, and then you'll see this live event. And it's tomorrow's event is 10 strange ways to tell whether you've got too much stuff or not.
I only need one because I know I do. I have two. I have a storage in Boston. I have a storage in the Bay Area, and I have issues. So this may not be our last conversation.
Got it, got it. And the other thing for folks, if they want to download the COVID-19, what am I calling it? It's my free COVID-19 organizing guide.
Hmm.
So it's 10 days of pulling yourself together and getting organized, whether it's meal planning, whether it's things to do around the house, whether it's organizing, whether it's with the virus. So again, they go to dorothytheorganizer.com and it's free up there, and just click on the link and you'll get it.
That's awesome. Let's leave with this thought. Can you just tell us how blessed you feel to have survived this, considering what's happening across our world right now? And let's send out a little hope to folks, because I know it's portrayed a lot in the news and we do get criticized for it a little bit, but sometimes you got to tell people what's going on to make sure you get their attention. But uh, people do recover from this.
People do recover. We recovered. I'm 57. My husband is 65. We're in that perfect range to get the virus. We're very clean, orderly, neat people, and yet it happened to us. But we drank a lot of water. We followed all the rules, and here's what recovery looks like. Are you ready, Frank?
I'm ready. Bring it on.
I want everybody to
Well,
have
I'm
that
whooping up.
feeling.
I'm here. We'll do a little virtual high five here together. Boom. What a pleasure to meet you. I'm thrilled and so happy that you're well. Give Marty our very best here from the Bay Area. That is Dorothy Bringinger, and she is dorothytheorganizer.com. And I highly recommend you go to her website because she's a survivor and she's got some great knowledge. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right. Be well, Dorothy.